So I woke up this morning, and the very first thing I did, well, not the very first thing. The very first thing I did was make some coffee and feed the dogs. But literally right after that, I sat down to give a listen to David Gilmour's newest solo album, Luck and Strange, which I have been patiently but very eagerly waiting for, because each step along the way, as he's put out a release, I found that I loved the song. And, my first reaction was, holy shit, I love this album. I forgive the language, but that was the first few texts that I started sending out to people as I was getting into the song. And I got about halfway through and I started realizing, wow, there's definitely a theme happening here. And obviously, David Gilmour, Pink Floyd, there's a real history of creating some great concept albums there. And I was getting the feeling here that, wow, is this a concept album? Now, my fellow co-host at SiriusXM, Rachel Steele, had the opportunity recently to actually talk with David Gilmour. And I haven't had a chance to listen to her interview yet, but I did email her right away going, hey, did David talk at all about this being a concept album? And she did say that, yes, he did talk about kind of like a continuous theme throughout the album, but he never used the word concept album. I'm not going to tell you what that theme was. She did share it with me. I picked it up immediately. What she said it was. You can definitely, if you listen to the album yourself, you'll probably pick up what the theme is. Otherwise, definitely go and listen to her interview with David so you can get the full scoop. Now, I love the album, and you can accuse me of being biased because I can't think of any other guitarist that had as big an influence on how I chose to develop as a guitarist when I was much younger than David Gilmour. I mean, I was going down one path where my goal was to learn how to do the most complex, incredible things possible on the guitar. And literally, probably in a span of a day, after really sitting down and just listening to a whole bunch of Pink Floyd one day, I realized that all of a sudden I wanted to be like him. I wanted to make people feel the way that he was making me feel when he played the guitar. So he's a very influential guitarist and musician within my life as a musician. So yeah, I may be biased, but generally the way I react is I try to stick to the mindset of, if you can't say something nice, say nothing at all. So whenever I listen to an album or a song to review, the first thing I'm paying attention to is if I'm going to have that visceral, almost impulsive, positive reaction. If that's not there, then I try to listen to things that I can speak positively to. And if I can't do that, then I say nothing at all. So maybe biased, yes, but I did get that immediate again, holy shit, this is incredible. Typically, if you follow me, you notice that in my posts, I usually stitch clips between my commentary throughout the post. I can't do it on this one. I really can't. To do clips, to use snippets from the album would be to completely ruin the experience. The best way to experience this album is to listen to it uninterrupted from start to finish. It really is a moving experience. And yes, it is the kind of album that you could put on and let it just play in the background while you do stuff around the house or run errands or something. But that'd be about like trying to get drunk off of a fine wine. Sure, it gets the job done, but you're really missing out on a greater experience. You need to give yourself the time and the space to sample, to enjoy the wine, to focus and try to find all the little hints of the different flavors, to pair it up with different foods and a different ambiance to really make it all about the experience. And that's what you're going to find with this album. I think there were 12 different musicians involved on it, 2 choirs, an orchestra, and the layers, just the depth of the layers on every single song. When you sit down to listen to it, take the time to listen to the different instruments, the voicings, listen to how the layers shift. It's such a deep, deep experience. Again, I think it could very well be, in my opinion, his best solo album. And that might be in part due to his partnership with Charlie Andrew as the producer, and Charlie coming in, which I've talked about this, Charlie coming in with a really fresh and fanboy experience or impression of David. He came into it without being overwhelmed or even knowledgeable about really David's background and his just overall status. So it gave him a fresh perspective on the album. That's what we might be hearing. But overall, it's a very well-produced album. There is absolutely a theme that if you listen to it, you'll pick up. And give yourself the space just to sit back and breathe and go through the journey. And you'll probably find at the very end of the last song that you're going to let out a really big breath. So that's all I can say about it right now. I love it. I hope you'll take the time to listen to it. And as always, please let me know what you think.